Hello, my name is Kriostix and welcome back to Dirt Rally. One of the most common criticisms this game gets is that it's so friggin' hard. And what I'm here to ask myself, or anyone else, is this game too hard? And after some rigorous thinking, my answer is pretty much no and yes. No, in the sense that it is extremely demanding, yes, and it is difficult, but it is for the most part doable, and especially all of the achievements are achievable for pretty much everyone if they put their mind and time into it. It can take weeks or months, but it is doable and it feels extremely rewarding when you manage to hack this game. But there is the issue that the first difficulty curve, which hits the player immediately, is extremely steep, and it is not helped by the fact that because of the way the car cost thing works, it's like you have to start with the super difficult cars from the 60s and 70s with their rear-wheel drives, which just back then car control was not something that existed. It was just not a thing back then. So you need to start with the most difficult cars in the game. That's a problem. Also, there is the fact that this game does not have a casual, quote-unquote, difficulty setting from which the game would, in my opinion at least, benefit from, because as it stands, it pretty much looks like this game is only for the hardest of the core, which is all well and good, but I'm not sure the audience is big enough to create a whole bunch of sales, and that hurts the hardest of the core, because if the game doesn't sell, there will be no sequels or sequels for the sequels, because simply, if it gets a reputation of being extremely difficult with no casual options, then only the professional drivers and hardcore gamers of this type will buy it, and that is simply not enough, and it hurts everyone. In my case, I have all of the achievements, and in the online events I am usually just barely within the best 1/3, but still in the rally stages, anywhere except Germany and every once in a while a miscellaneous rally here and there, anything harder than the open difficulty setting, the easiest one, and I am left in the dust. But that is not the only way that this game is difficult, and sometimes seems even more difficult and unfair than it actually is. This is apparent especially in some Rallycross events. Allow me to give an example. So here we are in Sweden in a Rallycross event, and we are starting off quite nicely in there, right there, and the start is pretty good, on par with everyone else, and then that happened. They bumped me into the wall.
The stewards are investigating you for corner cutting. Okay.
And you heard that right. They are investigating me for corner cutting after the AI bumps me into a wall. I can't go left, I can't go right, I can't go forward any faster. And yeah, that's the unfairness that you sometimes just meet in this game. That should be looked at and fixed if there's a sequel. Another thing that often happens in the Rallycross events is that the group you are in is by multiple magnitudes just faster than the other group. Your worst time would have been easily enough to win the other group, but not yours. It's a pretty bad case of bad simulation of times. Of course, you are racing against the other drivers. That just means that the simulation thing just isn't on par. It doesn't mean that the difficulty is upped only for you, just that they don't really know how to simulate the correct times in the other group. That's fine. So let's just try to go above that and just stay level-headed and look for the moments in these Rallycross events where you can gain seconds against the AI, and you can absolutely do this. I was able to, and so are you. Just My advice is to not get mired in the fact that this game is hard and seems unfair. Just focus on winning and beating the AI, and you can eventually do it. It doesn't help to rage on forever about how difficult the game is. Just focus on winning, and yes, you can then do it. And if you are in a state where you can't quite yet win, don't worry about it. Don't get stressed out over the fact that the AI is faster than you at this point. Just focus on bettering yourself, focus on your own rally, your own driving, and while you ever so slowly get better at the game, you will eventually be good enough to win the rally stages and rallycross stages and so on and so on. Especially in the rally stages, it's pretty common that in some rallies the AI just is not beatable, at least at the beginning. Don't worry about that, just take the second or third place, and in the overall standings you usually will win the championship. You'll probably win in Germany and a couple of other rallies, and then be second or third in the other ones. The best AI will almost always, at least in one rally, get some sort of catastrophic technical failure, and he will fall so far down that in the overall championship points you will still win him. With all that said, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.